Oh god. I hope I leave me falling in for that intro. Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my 2023 stats. This is like my favorite video. I love watching these videos from people. I love making this video. It's kind of easy. It's kind of simple, but I'm nosy and I like seeing the breakdowns. So I love graphs and charts. I am a nerd. This is why I have multiple reading spreadsheets. It all makes sense. But let's talk about stats. First things first, per the spreadsheet, I read 432 books in 2023. And I need to note on Goodreads, I think it was 430. So I don't know. I usually am pretty lockstep, but I always feel like I end the year like one or two off from each other. So it's fine. The total page number, y'all, I did it. I didn't even realize I had done this, but I've always wanted to break 100,000 pages, and I did. I read 100,245 pages in 2023. So not by much, but I did manage it, and I had no idea I had managed this until literally today when I grabbed this number. I listened to 331 hours of audio. That is with my book sped up. So I do take like how long the book is and I put in the speed I listen to it at, like I divide it by that, and it gives me my adjusted rate. I might do a thing where I do like the actual audio time and then how long it takes me to listen. I don't know. Either way, I listen at between 2.5 to 3 times speed usually. So if we did like 2.75, that's like 900 hours of audio, I think, in a year, give or take. I did calculator math, by the way. That was not in my head. When I say I'm not a math girl, I'm not joking. I had 15 rereads in 2023, which is amazing because I am not a big rereader, and I did reread things for live shows and other stuff. And then I acquired 285 books, but I did stop tracking in like October. So that's on me. There's reasons. You know about those reasons if you watched that vlog last week's vlog, yeah. So that's fine. And then I checked out 110 books from the library in 2023. Let's dive into some graphs and charts and all the fun stuff. So first up, age demographic breakdown. I did read 267 adult titles, 161 young adult titles, which would be the manga section is, I would say 99% of the young adult titles I read. Then my source of books, I thought this was really interesting. I read 52% of books that I owned last year, and I didn't feel like I reduced my read what you own by that much, but I guess, honestly, I did reduce a lot more than I realized. My highest source literally is 216 books, which are owned titles. The library is off. Well, okay, so the library number here is not going to match necessarily what I said I checked out, because I will check out books I own from the library. And I still track those as a library checkout because I still saved money because I didn't buy a digital version of it or the audiobook, etc. But yeah, I am really impressed with how many I manage here. Like I was surprised. Not what I expected. And 57 from Kindle Unlimited I think is great. And then for our years of release, this is my pie chart of that. So you'll notice I'm unsurprised here. 2023 and 2022 are our biggest slices, and then like kind of decreasing from the last few years. I feel like that tracks. I read a lot of new releases generally. I do read backlists too, but I feel like I'm always reading backlists for the year before the most and the current year the most. So we'll see how that shifts this year as I work on Read What You Own. I do think we're going to see a bigger spread of years in 2024. Publishers. Okay, this was really interesting. First of all, I was like, what is going on? Because this chart was wrong at first. I had to adjust it because I didn't have all the publishers. And because normally one of my largest slices of this pie chart is always self-published, and it was not there. And I was like, why is it was showing Berkeley. And I was like, Berkeley is not my most read publisher this year. I can guarantee it. So I fixed it. And unsurprisingly, self-published books is the largest slice of pie. And then we have Kodansha and Viz as my next most read publishers. Manga-wise, not surprising. I feel like most of my manga comes from the two of them. And Seven Seas would be like third after that. So yeah, I was not surprised and happy to see where I was on that one. Okay, let's see my ratings. So I had a 4.29 average in 2023, which is fantastic. But also, can we note, that average is so inflated from my manga reading because most manga I read are 4 and 5 stars. I don't really hang on to series or keep going if I'm not enjoying it. This is part of why we have 2 spreadsheets next year. You'll see soon in the video when I talk about it, but this is why I separated out my reading, because I think that manga reading is great and I love it, but when I rate it, it's really inflating my average. Okay, so since I've already separated it for 2024, I can look and see what my average is, and I checked. January's is like a 3.8 right now, and I'm a couple books into the year. So this is where I say, like, I know this is very inflated from manga. All right, let's talk about my library stats. I know that's what you're here for. How much did I spend and what are my library savings this year? Well, I'm here to tell you. As always, if you've not watched one of my videos where I talk about using the library and stuff like that, I'll link to it for you down below or up above, all the places. I recommend you check it out because if you aren't using some of these extensions on your web browser, you're really missing out on saving a lot of money and maximizing your library. I've talked about out-of-state cards before in that same video, so all that info will be there. I'm not going to redo that video yet. I don't have any new information to share really, so we'll go with that. I will note I have approximately 14 library cards last year. Some of these are cards I have purchased for out-of-state use, ranging from $40 to $50. Some of these are cards that just haven't been turned off since I moved. Some of these are cards that my friends have and have given me, and I've given them mine, and we do like a little swap-a-roo. Highly recommend. But yeah, stuff like that is how I acquired 14 library cards. Nothing questionable has happened here. I just literally swap with friends, and that's totally allowed. So I saved $1,292.92 in 2023 at the library, and that is thrilling. I love that number. I would love to see that number next year at like $1,500, $2,000. Like, I would love to see this number even bigger next year. We'll see, since I'm doing a lot of Read What You Own, but this seems to hold pretty true for me. I always save over $1,000 at my libraries. This is the chart with all of my library cards to show you like where I got the most use. Hoopla was my biggest use of all year for audiobooks. So I got a ton of books from Hoopla all year, and that really added up in this library savings, I feel like. And then also I was surprised that this card I got from my friend in Boston has done so well for me. And then my New Orleans card was a card that I knew I loved, but the more I've used it, the more I love this card, and seeing these numbers, I'm like, this is why you love this card. It's fantastic. All right, let's talk about book buying. We're going to caveat my book buying segment here. First of all, I went ham in January, and I feel like to an extent it set the tone for the rest of the year, and I just kind of freely bought a lot of books, a lot of manga specifically. I am doing better in 2024. That is the goal. This number is not going to be this high in 2024. But I will say this. I read 44% of what I bought, which was a total of 285 books that I tracked, okay? 44% I read. That's good. I'm proud of myself for that. And I spent about $2,100 on books. Now, I don't feel like that's terrible for me. We don't have like kids or student loans. Like, $175-ish a month on books is not terrible. My goal in 2024 though is probably about $100 a month on books, like maximum. And again, that's with Read What You Own happening too, and me being very thorough with my tracking this year, because again, I was not the best last year. I did drop off, so this number is not fully accurate, but I want to have that number minimum in 2024. But again, I'm also really proud of myself for reading 44% of what I own. Like, that is great. I did track savings as well from things that I was gifted and when I got things on sale. So if I bought an ebook for $1.99 and normally it's $5.99, I would track the difference. So I do want to note that though I spent as much as I did tracking ARCs and gifted items, I also saved like $2,000. So like, it could have been a lot worse. And that would have been absolutely out of hand. But 2023 was a extravagant year, I feel like, when it came to my book purchasing, and not the norm for me. And again, I'm really working to get it in check in 2024. I will note, you can see here too, majority of my spending is manga and audiobooks, which is not surprising, but I'm also trying to just maximize that library. And I'm probably like, I've paused my Audible subscription. Like, I'm working through what I own. We're not spending on books in 2024 is the goal. I feel like I spent what a lot of people did in 2020 on books. But yeah, I'm not like ashamed of the number or how much I spent, considering I make content and I do bookish things all the time. Like, reading is a big part of my life. I read a lot of books in 2023. Of course, I also spent a lot of money on those books. Now, some of this too is me buying books I loved to put on my shelves, which I think is really important. And it's a really fun thing for me to be able to do every month and occasionally. So yeah, I'm definitely like hunkering down on the book budget in 2024. And I do think that means like if I don't spend the money, it doesn't mean it carries over either. I think it's just going to be like you can buy a couple volumes here and there of manga as you read through the 200 plus you have unread on your shelves. Like, get it together. Yeah, that's where we're at. So those are my stats. I don't think I missed any. Let me check. The only other stat I really have that I haven't shared yet is my underrepresented stats. So on my spreadsheet, I think it's called diversity, but I bucket diversity into underrepresented. So that is anyone who doesn't look like me, okay, not white, different skin color, not white, fat, disabled, any of that stuff gets bucketed into this check mark. And that actually accounted for about 64% of my reads last year. So that's really exciting to see. But again, a lot of that also counts my manga, which does add up to some of this helping. But I'm going to be, again, separating everything out in 2024, so it's going to give me a better grasp on where I'm at when it comes to tracking diversity and other things in my reading. Okay, one other thing. Also, color of book covers. I think this was a really fun thing that Allie does in these spreadsheets where you track the book cover color. I thought it was really fascinating to see how much certain colors dominated. Here's the chart. And like, obviously black was a really big color. And then white came in like next, I feel like, and then blue. That wasn't the spread I necessarily expected. Other also was pretty popular, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know that I expected this color spread for all the covers I read. I feel like I read moderately colorful books. But I mean, if the predominant color on a manga is white, it's going to be a white cover or other at most. So yeah, I'm not sure how much that shifted it, but it's been fun to think about like, what color are there covers that I'm picking up? And do I notice a trend beyond a lot of black and white covers? So yeah, that was a really fun one. Yeah, those are my stats. I would love to know what stat you found most interesting in your reading for 2023. If you track, and if you don't, let me know why you do or don't track, and if you're going to start tracking in 2024. Because honestly, I love seeing all the charts and graphs fill in. You can do that down below, and if you don't want to do that, leave me like a chart graph nerd emoji of your choice. I'm a nerd. I love spreadsheets. And yeah, I don't have links for this one, so I'll have links to Be My Friend anywhere on the internet if you want to do that. And I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away.